10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Whack Whack Attack. Today is March 15th, and we've got today's episode for you. Before I get started, I was told by people in trading yesterday that my microphone has a mute button right here. So if I'm going to start coughing, I can just press mute and you guys won't hear any of the coughing. I have no idea why I didn't think of that before, but you live and you learn. So I have learned. So even if I do cough today, which I don't think I'm going to, I just did some vocal warm-up exercises and I had a little bit of a cough, but I'm not going to cough. So let's get started with the episode. So first of all, here there was the post by me in trading yesterday saying, woohoo! And then Ramana replied by saying, he followed up by saying Shapella is active. So what is Shapella? Is the next upgrade that is coming from Ethereum. It's happening through a hard fork. It is the update that will complete the merge phase of the Ethereum roadmap. There'll still be other things later, but like we had the beacon chain launched in December 2020, and then we had merge in September last year, and now with Shapella, which is Shanghai Shapella, whatever you want to call it, the next hard fork will enable withdrawals and reward skimming and stuff like that. So that's really awesome. So why were we saying woohoo? Well, yesterday the hard fork to enable that happened on the Goerli testnet. The Goerli testnet, of course, is important because that's where stakers go to test. So there was a lot of staking people who were like testing all the stuff that they had to do, which was fantastic. So we were really happy that it happened. However, very quickly, it turned out that there was something wrong. So Phonax is my poor node got hammered with error work, queue is full. And then Ramana says, yeah, same. I posted in the Lighthouse General, and then people were saying, Ufix was saying, wow, 28% participation. Ken saying, wow, Goerli is not going to finalize. So it was very easy because you could see the missed proposal blocks coming in, and there were just not enough of them. You need 66% of proposals in the epoch. Well, 66.67%, I guess, something like that. Of proposal blocks in the epoch to go through, and it was not finalizing, right? So everyone could kind of see it. So the people on the live stream, Eat Staker held a great live stream that was wonderfully hosted by Nixo. She did such a great job managing that, and shout out goes to Yorick as well, who really did a good job of explaining things. Of course, everyone else as well did a really cool job, but I really want to give a shout out to those two people because they did really good work with the live stream yesterday. But they could see right away that things were not going exactly to plan, so they were trying to find out what was happening. And then Zemo says better this than mainnet, and non-fungible Yoakum says this might be good news for getting Atlas before Shapella. And then I replied by saying not like this. But anyway, Fizz released a tweet a little while later saying the Goerli testnet has low participation after the Shapella upgrade and the chain isn't finalizing, but it doesn't halt. It just keeps adding blocks until enough people update their validator, and we have 66% participation. This is resilience in action. So, people started explaining what was happening and why it wasn't finalizing, what it meant that it wasn't finalizing, and, how to, what to expect going forward. So it turned out, during people's discussions that they could see all the different client teams were producing blocks. So it didn't look like it was an issue necessarily on the client side. So that leaves the issue to be on the user side. So a little while later, as people updated their software, the blocks started finalizing, and they were justifying. So that I think was an hour and a half later, we started to get, or maybe just over an hour later, we started to get all these finalizing blocks. And then, as long as they were above 66.6%, whatever, then that was all good. So yeah, as people, the main thing was people had kind of abandoned their nodes, I guess, that they were running on Goerli. it would be better if they did like graceful shutdowns of their nodes, or exited before the hard fork, but the software was not updated to the latest versions, etc. So there were just not enough people who were doing that. So the block, it wasn't finalizing. But like this, like if it says this is resilience in action, it's a really good point to see that Ethereum will still keep going even if this was happening. So by that sense, it's great that it happened on the testnet. However, now everything is running smoothly, and let's have a look at the Beacon Chain website to see what's going on. And we can see that it's kind of hitting like 74, 79, 77, 78. So kind of high 70s, low 80 percentages of proposals are being hit. So yeah, it's running along fairly well. So that's really good to see. Congratulations everyone on a good hard fork. That's always really cool to see. So let's move on from there. I said this comment in trading yesterday. So I said, I might have said some things on the show that are wrong. So I gathered a couple of pieces of information, and I kind of like had dots, and instead of drawing a straight line through the dots, I kind of made a zigzag line, which of course is not the right way to draw conclusions. So I might have tried to make some guesses about when Atlas would go live on the show yesterday based on a couple of nuggets of information, and that was wrong. So sorry about that. So how did I find out it was wrong? Basically, Joe came online, and I said, Joe, what's the April 3rd thing that Langus was talking about? And then Joe was like, what April 3rd thing? I literally just woke up. So then I pasted a link for him of the April 3rd thing that we had over here. He says, that's correct. That's when we are targeting. At this stage, we'll execute the config changes around the 3rd of April. So I didn't fully basically grasp what that meant. And then Joe explained to me basically that is the date at which where is it? Let me see. That's for making the deposit pool bigger and stuff. It's the pre-Atlas step. So I was kind of mixing up my steps. I was thinking that was going to be the step with where Atlas was going to go live, and that was my mistake. So I just want to clarify that. On top of that, then yesterday, Langas actually made a formal post here. So he says, hey everyone, in preparation for the Atlas launch to Goerli, we have raised a testnet proposal number 33, and then there's a link there to apply the agreed parameter changes. And it says the deposit pool limit increases from 5k ETH to 18k ETH, and the R ETH target collateral reduction from 10% to 1%. And then there's a link to the vote that's there. It says this proposal is now available for voting by testnet ODAO members. Please vote at your earliest convenience. The same changes will be rolled out to mainnet ahead of the Atlas launch. The only difference is that we will flashbot bundle the execution of the proposal so that we can capture the arbitrage created by the increase in deposit pool limit and give it to the RETH holders. We're excited to take this first step towards releasing Atlas. A further proposal will be raised tomorrow to deploy Atlas to our Goerli testnet. So this is the information that was we really wanted to see. And now that it's all here, that's really cool. So there are a couple of pieces of information that we're going to go into, kind of like open this up a little bit. So here we have, the deposit pool limit from 5k to 18k. So we already knew that was happening. Then this RETH collateral reduction from 10% to 1%. You might be wondering, hey, what does that mean? So our good friend Patches had this explanation. He says, right now, as tips MEV flow in and in the future, as mini pools are exited, the portion of those funds that belong to RETH holders is sent to the RETH contract. That way, it can be used to redeem 10% of all RETH. Any excess is sent back to the deposit pool so it can be staked, effectively creating a compounding effect. Many people think 10% is too much. there's about 220,000 ETH worth of RETH in circulation. So the threshold will be 22,000 ETH, which is quite a lot of funds to have sitting idle when it could be earning staking rewards instead. So by going to 1%, then that will just be 2,200 ETH that will be sitting idle instead, which of course is much better for drag on the network. So thank you, Patches, for explaining that. So it says over here, then it says the same changes will be rolled out on mainnet. So that is what they are targeting for April 3rd, although that is subject to change as well. I guess it's not, set in stone. And then the difference is the Flashbots bundle. So as Rocket Arb works, as you all know, is that when you make space in the deposit pool by spinning up a new mini pool, that leaves 16 ETH of space. You can arb that by minting the RETH yourself, selling it on the secondary market, and keeping the difference because there was a premium. So that's what the team will be doing with this deposit pool expansion. They'll be using the 13,000 RETH space that it will be ETH space that will be made to mint to mint the RETH and then sell that on the secondary market, and whatever the profit is of that, they'll give it to the RETH contract. However, as we talked about yesterday, the premium is really low right now, so it might be that it's just not even worth doing it at that point. But I guess they'll see what the numbers are looking like at that point and decide whether it's worth it to go ahead or not. And then it says, we're excited to take this first step towards releasing Atlas, of course on mainnet he means. And then it says a further proposal will be raised tomorrow to deploy Atlas to our Goerli testnet. So as you know, Atlas contracts haven't been put onto Goerli yet, so that proposal will go to the testnet ODAO members, and then they can vote on that to make sure that it is that will go live, and then people can play around with those contracts on Goerli, and then I guess the team will make the decision about whether or not they will go live on mainnet before the next rewards period or after the next rewards period, depending on the tree generation stuff. Now that will be incidental to when the Shanghai / Capella hard fork will take place on mainnet. That might be we'll find that out most likely tomorrow during the all devs call. They'll do a post-mortem of the Goerli fork, hard fork, and then they'll figure out when the Ethereum hard fork will take place. It likely seems to be like 4 weeks, so I think maybe April 12th or 10th, 11th maybe might be a possible target date. Of course, I'm just making up numbers here, so we'll know more tomorrow, and I'll cover it in the show tomorrow as well. So thank you, Langas, for that really good post explaining everything that I was confused about yesterday. So I much better understand the process now. So thank you, Patches, as well, for that information. Okay, so yesterday we had the bi-weekly update, an update from Maverick, and he talked about a whole bunch of different things. And he says, ETH Denver, what an incredible 2 weeks, meeting and interacting with everyone at the Rocket Pool booth and bowling excursion. Can't wait for next year. Of course, it was also a great opportunity to showcase the protocol and network with what seemed to be the entire Ethereum community, which will bear fruit in the coming weeks. And then there's a message here, says a little shorter this time around for obvious reasons. Of course, everyone was in Denver. And then there's a link to the bi-weekly update. It says, due to challenges holding community call at ETH Denver, there'll be plenty to catch up on. So make sure you join tomorrow's call with special guests from Silo Finance. And then it says events. Check out the event section at the top of the channel list, where we currently have 6 events scheduled, including Langas featuring on the panel, coming up in just a few hours. Possibly more of interest is the first 2 town hall style discussions scheduled towards the end of next week. The countdown to launch day is now well and truly on, and that's launch for Atlas. So let's have a quick look at the events that are there. So there's 4 events that are there right now. It says the Twitter space with exponential finance, and that's today in 7 hours from recording. And then tomorrow we have the Atlas Town Hall at 9 p.m, which is going to be really great. So people can ask questions and the team can answer the questions. And then we have the community call featuring Ether Capital. And then we have a community call featuring Crypto Tax Calculator. There will also be a second Atlas Town Hall that will be more friendly for European times. That is yet to be scheduled. So this is really good stuff. I'm interested in all of that, and I will try my best to attend all of that and give you updates. So now let's have a look at the bi-weekly update. So this is from March 14th. It says our ETH supply annualized growth of 80%, pretty much 79%. Mini pool count is now 13,358. Just the number gets bigger so fast, which is an annualized growth of 83%. Effective RPL has grown 21%. That's, I guess, because of the ratio changes, and annualized growth of 556%. That number fluctuates a lot, so it's not the main number to look at is just like the 7.49 million. But even that changes because of the ratio changes. And the node operator count has grown to 2,192, nearly 2,200, annualized growth rate of 63%. So smart node version 1.7.5 was released, and then we have 1.9.0 alpha was released, and RC was released as a release candidate, door operator on mainnet. And then the entire team has been attending ETH Denver over the last 2 weeks. And work has continued on Zhejiang integration and bug fixes for Atlas, along with preparations for launch on Goerli and changing the deposit pool settings. And then there's more centralized exchange listings for RPL, including Bitpanda, Ascendex, OKX, Deepcoin, Mean Finance Integrated RETH, community Rocket Rescue node was put on mainnet. NodeSet announced plan to build on top of Rocket Pool and provide more options to stakers. And then we covered a lot of this stuff on the show. And then with governance, we had votes finishing, POAPs available, and the next round of IMC members vote is open. Actually, I'm going to cover that even though it wasn't on my show notes for today, but I'm going to talk about that. And then media marketing, it says ETH Denver was massive success for Rocket Pool, event being focused on the entire team and over 50 community members during the past 2 weeks. And then there's loads of updates of people talking about things happening in Denver. And this is volunteer pause will be distributed later in the week. Official Atlas announcement, ETH Denver received a lot of interest, including from the Defiant. We covered that as well. Then there's more media coverage from Binance Research, Cointelegraph, Forbes, CoinGecko, Illuminati DAO, and then Langas was on Empire podcast, and then there's just information about Rocket Pool at the end. So let's have a look at the IMC nominees where we stand at the moment. So we had 10 nominees last time. Yeah, we had Whiskers, and then Ramana put themselves forward as a nominee as well. So now we have 11 nominees for we have 11 nominees for 9 spots. Ideally, we would like some more nominees, but yeah, I don't know I think we've got another couple of days. Maybe I guess it could close today because we've had 5 days, and that's when Valdov said they would close it. So I'm not sure how that would go. Okay. Next, we get the bi-weekly update, then we got a community call. Jasper says, join me for the first Rocket Pool Twitter space post ETH Denver. Langas and I will cover the bi-weekly update, which includes some juicy details about Atlas, and the call will also feature Silo Finance, a risk isolated lending market. So then people in trading were kind of talking about it, about getting some bread, and when LEB falls, and Ken says, make Langas say it again. So the community call happened. The guest hosts were Silo Finance, who do isolated lending market to leverage our ETH. They revealed they now support RPL, and their early incentives are very high, 600% plus APR on our ETH just for supplying. And then Langas talked about an ETH Denver recap, including highlights and stories. He mentioned that forced exits may be on the cards, and that after Atlas is out, we need to have a community discussion about what the next priority should be in relation to that, plus DVT, etc. He also gave a tentative April 13th Atlas release date based on the rewards period. So that was a really big piece of information that came out of the community call. The Goerli testnet will be voted on today and should be live tomorrow. We also discussed the upcoming but not yet scheduled Atlas town halls. One of those, of course, has been scheduled now, where people will be able to ask anything about the upgrade. And then there was a short discussion. So there was some bread. There's some really good information in the community call. You can go back to the tweet that I have in the description where you can listen to the recording of the whole thing. So definitely give that a check. So this is the information from Silo Finance. So right now they have our ETH available to borrow, and they've got 2,000 $700 worth of RETH and $5,900 worth of ETH and $20,000 worth of, I guess, their own token, Silo Finance. I don't know that logo. And then Zai, I guess, maybe that's a stable coin that they have there. Anyway, there's some like APRs you can see on Silo. So 693% on ETH, 547%. Of course, please do your due diligence before you interact with any smart contract, because you saw what happened with YOLO Finance. That can happen to any protocol at any time. Always do your research. These numbers, of course, are amazing. However, we know that in DeFi they don't last very long, so they might diminish very, very quickly. And then, so that was yesterday. You know, the Silo Finance people, they stopped talking after in the community call, and they pasted this information in trading, and in general. And then we got another update from them today. In general, he says, "Hello fam, I am from Silo Finance here. It was great being on your community call yesterday. Our ETH incentives are now part of our mission to support Rocket Pool. Hop on and give us a shout." So as you can see, the numbers went down drastically, like just in the period of one day. So they got, like, you know, some deposits coming through, and then it went down to 50% and 43% and 22%. So that was good information. And then Ken said, "Awesome, I really enjoyed learning about Silo on the call. Can you please let us know when the RPL borrow lending Silo that you hinted at will be operational? I think there might be some interest in its use." And Anaheim says, "Sure, I will share an update early next week." So that's a nice bit of information there. Okay, next we had this update from Vaka, who of course is the pDAO treasurer. And like I said, if you need an intro on how the pDAO works, check out this post. The last payment from the reserves has been made. The GMC has been transferred its second and last installment of 17,680.12 RPL, and now both the IMC's and GMC's credit with the pDAO has been zeroed. The IMC and GMC received 5,374 RPL and 3,224 RPL from inflation respectively. The pDAO reserve fund received 2,149 RPL this period. Our pDAO reserve fund balance is now 32,379 RPL. The pDAO is becoming a nice whale. You can keep up with the pDAO treasury with the following spreadsheets, and then there's 2 links. And Vaka says, "Thank you for reading, see you next period." So it's good to know that everything is being done properly. Next we had this tweet from Marceau, who was like putting out a sweating emoji, and the reason for that is because of this update from Lido, and Lido saying an update on Lido is Ethereum withdrawals. So the TLDR is Lido DAO is currently undertaking 7 version 2 audits. The code base is very close to being finalized. All major fixes have been merged. They'll do a 4-week Goerli testnet that will commence from next week, circa March 20th, and then mainnet upgrade will be expected mid-May. So there's a couple of questions that come up. First of all, let's actually go back to what Marceau was saying, and he says, "Kudos for them for this level of candor, honestly." So there's a full tweet thread here where they talk about all the different things that are happening and what's going on. So what's happening is basically that Christine Kim says, "If I'm understanding this correctly, it means that staked ETH withdrawals on Lido on Ethereum may be enabled faster than on Lido." And it says, "Shanghai upgrade on Goerli looks fine so far, other than the issues around non-upgraded nodes preventing network finalization." And then people shared this tweet as well. It says, "The withdrawals won't launch until mainnet, until all orders concerning on-chain code are completed, expected at the end of April. Adding another 2 weeks as safety margin, the current expectations for mainnet withdrawals to be live is around mid-May." So the reason why I'm covering this is because it really changes how, you know, this idea of the great migration will form out. So there was this expectation that, you know, Atlas will go live, which will massively increase our ETH absorption rate, and then Shanghai would go live or Shapella would go live on mainnet, which would mean that people would be able to start moving around their Ethereum, and then they'd come to Rocket Pool. So that that was what I was hoping would happen in the great reshuffle. The biggest loser of the reshuffle, everyone hopes and expects to be Lido, because they're huge. They're the biggest staking entity by far, at 30% of the stake that they have, and 30+% of the stake that they have. And people thought, people would move from Lido to other services. However, it looks like for a month or so after Shapella takes place, people won't be able to move on from Lido. They'll be stuck with Lido. So that is definitely going to change some expectations of how things are going to go post Shapella hard fork. I think it might actually even give us a little bit it might actually even give us a little bit of breathing room to get Atlas out. Of course, we want solo staker migration to be happening right away, but the Lido thing, I think, was a much bigger potentially factor that we needed to be ready for, the great reshuffle. But hey, Lido, I don't know why they didn't start working on this months ago, but that's where we are now. So that's definitely interesting. Another thing I want to talk about here is Stader. So they are talking about being a node operator on Stader, and about how you only need 4 ETH plus 0.4 ETH worth of SD tokens. And then there's an explainer of their tokenomics. One of the things that's really interesting that caught my attention was that there would here it says, we'll be launching another product upgrade soon. It'll empower node operators to find the 0.4 ETH of SD requirement to be too high. It'll be a win-win solution. You'll be able to connect and borrow SD tokens from holders. That way you can use borrowed SD as an additional bond in exchange for a 10% share of your node operator commissions. You can have ETH only exposure if you wish, something not possible unless you choose to solo stake. So this is really interesting because it's very different from how we do things with Rocket Pool, and it seems like they're definitely going a different route there. So it's going to be curious to see how that works out, because we at Rocket Pool, we were thinking of doing like a SaaS, and that of course was has been put on the back burner a little bit. And then we get NodeSet now doing their hyperdrive thing, which would kind of act in a similar way, but it wouldn't be people staking themselves, right? It would be people depositing their ETH and RPL separately, or maybe even together, I guess. But it's interesting how this plays out for them and how it's going to work. But I just thought I'd give it a bit of a cover, because the numbers kind of like echo with Rocket Pool's numbers, but they're definitely going in a slightly different direction here. So I'll definitely keep you all updated on how that works out. Okay, and finally, I wanted to cover this conversation that I had in DMs with Mr. Dan. So I'm going to go to the Ping server and just show you guys something really quickly. It was a conversation from a few days ago where Joe was talking about to YOLO or not to YOLO Atlas. And I was saying, we got a YOLO at Joe, and Grey Wizard was saying, when YOLO, Joe emoji, Fields.eth was saying YOLO it, Spaceman Daddy said YOLO. So Mr. Dan messaged me, right? And I said YOLO on Rocket Fuel a couple of times too. And he said, just some feedback. Every time I hear you talk about YOLOing Atlas, it makes me super nervous, especially in the same episode as talking about the Euler finance hack. I'm just not a believer in pressuring any dev team. More testing is so much better in the long term. Anyway, it's just my 2 cents. You have a big voice in the community, so I want to urge you to support more testing, even if it means a later release. So I told Mr. Dan that I'd cover it in the episode today and just share some of my thoughts. Right, okay, so when I say YOLO it, I say that from a position where I know that the team has done a great job of putting together the contracts that will go into Atlas. I know that it's been audited by some of the best names in Ethereum auditing. That definitely lends support to the code that was written by the team. On top of that, it has been tested on Zhejiang, and soon it will be tested on Goerli. Just maybe not for as long as we'd hoped, but there's still, a few weeks of testing that we can do on Goerli too. So basically when I say YOLO it, it's with the idea in mind of having like trust in the team. Also, one of the comments Joe made was like the main thing that they want to be looking at is actually the tree generation and how that works with version 5, and trying to have some trees generated to make sure that there's no issues. So it's whether you're going to be doing that for a few days or a week maybe, compared to doing it for a month. So I think what will happen, I know we say YOLO it, but I don't think the team will YOLO it because they've never actually YOLO'd anything ever, which is wonderful, absolutely amazing, right? Because we want to make sure that Rocket Pool as a protocol is safe and battle tested first, and everything depends on the security that the contracts provide, and we've been going for over a year without any issues. So that, I know the team doesn't have that YOLO mentality in that sense. What I think will happen is the Ethereum All Core Devs call will happen tomorrow, at which point they will give a date for Shapella hard fork. Ideally, that date will be after April 13th, which means that we can put Atlas onto mainnet a day before, or 2 days before, whenever it goes live. We can do it before then, to make sure that we've got the next 3 or 4 weeks in place to get all our reward stuff set. And if there's a problem, then we can fix that before the period, the next awards goes live. So that's what it comes down to. I think it will all depend on what the all core devs say tomorrow, and then after that, whether or not the team will believe that there'll be enough time there for getting the required testing done or not. Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to the YOLO thing, I think it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Like, we all want Rocket Pool to be secure. We all want Rocket Pool to be safe and battle-tested and all that good stuff. And I know that is definitely what the team's values are. So yeah, that's what it comes down to. Really, that's the most important thing. The idea of trying to capture as much market share as possible, that mental like computation that we had to do and like try to figure things out, that has changed a little bit. Equations changed a little bit because of Lido not enabling withdrawals until the middle of May. That will definitely maybe play into things as well a little bit. But anyway, I'm just kind of like rambling here. I just wanted to give this comment from Mr. Dan a shout out, because we definitely don't want to put people's ETH at risk or their RPL at risk at all. And sorry if what I was saying was a little bit brash or brazen. That definitely was not my intention. So thank you all for watching and listening. It's the middle of the week. I wanted you to know that there might be a chance that I'll take some episodes off this week and maybe next week. The move stuff is taking quite a long time, and it might be that I have to take Rocket Fuel off, take it off the list for a few days. Maybe it might be that I'm down to like 3 episodes a week instead of 5 episodes a week. So I'm going to play with that by ear over the next few weeks. It's just a really, really busy period in mine and like the lives of like family members. And there's just a lot of things happening at the same time. So there's a chance that I'll go down to 3 episodes a week for a couple of weeks. As you all know, I really don't want to do that because I love getting out these episodes every day. But if that happens, it will be, for the short term, not for the long term. And I will let you all know what's going on. Or it might just be that I miss like 1 episode a week for the next few weeks. So I'll let you all know how things are going. And hopefully, I'll be able to get episodes out every day. But I'll let you all know what's happening. So thank you all for watching, listening, being wonderful members of the community. One of the things I wanted to say about Mr. Dan's comments is I truly, honestly appreciate people coming to me with their concerns, their questions, anything like that, because this Rocket Fuel is a community product. This is a part of the Rocket Pool community. Like you all know, the GMC, the pDAO funds, funds rocket fuel to a great extent, and without you all, like, it just wouldn't be possible. So everything, your feedback, your criticisms, your suggestions, your clarifications are all truly appreciated and wanted, and please don't hesitate to share your ideas and opinions with you. I swear I'll never get upset or mad or anything like that. So yeah, I've been rambling for the last few minutes. I'm going to stop recording here. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. Bye.